Good morning, all. This is Prashant Tongala. I'm here to deal with your CMA Inter law paper. Before getting into the discussion, first of all, I welcome you to Pragna Academy exclusively for CMA. Right. So the law paper in your intermediate level has been consist of 4 sections: Section A, Section B, Section C, and Section D. Section A covers commercial law. Section B covers industrial laws. Section C covers company law, and Section C covers company law, and Section D covers ethics, so which is called as business ethics. Right. So Section A, the law paper actually consists of 100 marks. Out of 100 marks, Section A, commercial laws carries 30 marks, and industrial laws carries 25 marks. Company law carries 35 marks, and for business ethics it carries 10 marks. Right. So before going to the discussion, let us start what is meant by law. What is meant by law? Not only law, it is also called as act, it's also called as enactment, it is also called as statute. All have similar meaning. In Telugu they are called as a chattam. Right. What is the need and purpose of making law? What is the need and purpose of making or enacting a law? So చట్టాలు ఎందుకు చేయాలి సార్? What is the main intention of making the law? In order to bring peace or harmony and discipline. In order to bring peace and harmony and discipline among people in the society. Among people in the society. In order to bring harmony and discipline among peoples in the society. So people peaceful ga oka society lo people peaceful ga బ్రతకాలి అన్నప్పుడు, right, we require law. Right. Sir, what is the main purpose of enacting or making the law, sir? Means in order to make peace and harmony among the people in the society. We have different branches of law. Different branches of law. Let us discuss few branches of law. We have business laws or commercial laws. Business laws or commercial laws. And we have industrial laws, another branch of law. We have company law or corporate laws. Company law or corporate laws. And criminal laws, civil laws, it goes on, revenue laws. Example of commercial laws, we have Indian Contract Act and Negotiable Instrument Act, and we have a Sale of Goods Act. So in industry laws we have Provident Fund Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, and Payment of Wages Act, Factories Act, and so on. And we have Companies Act 2013 for corporate laws. And examples of criminal laws, we have Criminal Procedure Code, Indian Penal Code. For civil laws we have Civil Procedure Codes. So and in revenues laws we have Income Tax Act, GST, there comes under revenue laws. Like so the law has been segregated into different branches of law. So these are the few examples of different branches of law. So before getting into the discussion, right, Sir, where the law will be created, sir? Where the law will be framed or created? So the law will be framed or created at two places called Parliament or State Assembly. There are two types of laws. We have basically two types of laws called as Central Acts or State Act. We have Central Acts or State Acts. Central Acts will be applicable for whole of India. Central Acts will be applicable for whole of India, and State Acts will be applicable for a particular state. State Act will be applicable for particular state. Sir, who will makes the law, sir, or where the laws will be framed, sir? Usually the law will be framed at central laws will be framed at Parliament. State laws will be framed at State Legislative Assembly. State acts will be framed at State Legislative Assembly. Okay, sir. Sir, in Parliament we have two houses. One is a upper house and other one is a lower house. The upper house is called as Rajya Sabha and the lower house is called as a Lok Sabha. In State Legislative Assembly also we have two houses. One is a member of Legislative Assembly and a Legislative Council. We have Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council. So most of the around only 6 states in India we can see Legislative Council, and the remaining states they don't have Legislative Council but they don't only have Legislative Assembly. The person who elects to the Legislative Assembly is called MLA. The person who elects to the Legislative Council is called MLC, and the person who elects to either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, they are called as MPs, Member of Parliaments. So Central Acts will be framed at Parliament and State Acts will be framed at State Legislative Assembly. Okay, sir. Sir, before going to the discussion of law, we have to understand the meaning of a bill. A bill is nothing but a draft proposal of an act. A bill is a draft proposal of an act. Bill is a draft proposal of an act. So before we call it as an act, it is called as a, we'll call them as bill. So usually we have different types of bill. We have financial bill and we have any act. Before getting into the, it is called as an act, we'll call it as bill. A bill is nothing but it is a draft proposal of an act. So usually the bill will be placed in Parliament, or state acts related bills will be framed at a State Legislative Assembly. So a bill is a draft proposal of an act. So where the bills will be framed, so the bills will be first passed at the Parliament, or in case of state acts related bills they will be passed at State Legislative Assembly. Right. So once the bill got placed in the Parliament and State Legislative Assembly, the bill must be passed at the houses of the Parliament and houses of the State Legislative Assembly. The bill must pass at Parliament and State Legislative Assembly. For passing of the bill at Parliament, it requires 51% of the voting of the members, voting of the MPs must be passed in favor of the bill. So ఎవరైతే MPs ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు ఆ బిల్ కి ఫేవర్ గా అట్లీస్ట్ 51% members of the Parliament has to be make a favorable vote in order to pass the bill. Once the bill is passed, it will get near to the President. For a Central Act, it will require assent of the President. That is assent nothing but approval of the President. For state related bills, it requires assent of the Governor. So once their assent has been given and the government will intimate the same in official gazette, then it is called as an act. So first there must be a bill. The bill must be passed at houses of the Parliament for Central Act related bills, and the State Act related bills they must be passed at State Legislative Assembly. So before we'll call it as a law, So first we must call it as bill. A bill is nothing but a draft proposal of an act. A bill is a draft proposal of an act. So the bill must be passed at both the houses of the parliament. In order to passing the bill, it requires minimum 51% of the voting of the members to be favored votes, and then the bill will be get assent from the, for central bills it will get assent from the president, and coming to the state bill it get assent from the governor. So after getting the assent from the governor, they will release a notification in official gazette. So from that day the bill is called as an act. So next, so we have an official gazette, right? So first they must have to pass a bill. So a bill is a draft proposal of an act. So first it is called as a bill. So a bill is a draft proposal of an act, and the bill must be passed at a parliament. It is called as central acts. The bill must be passed at if the bill has been passed at a state legislature as a state act, right? So next discussion, sir, India, who have the authority to frame the laws, sir? India, who has the authority to frame the laws, right? Article 2, Article 245 of Constitution of India. Article 245 of Constitution of India discuss regarding with the relationship between powers of central government and state government. So in India we have a supreme law called Constitution of India. Here we have a supreme law called what? Constitution of India. Any law framed or made in India obey the Constitution. If any law or any provisions of the law which override or which overrides Constitution of India, then the law or the provision of the law said to be void is called as ultra vires and said to be void. So if any provision of the law or if any law or an act which violates or which overrides the Constitution, then it is called as ultra vires, and the effect of the law will be void. It don't have any validity in India. The effect of the law is void. It don't have any validity in India. So ultra vires means ultra means beyond, vires means power. Ultra means beyond, vires means power. So ultra vires means beyond the power of Constitution, right? Next, so the parliament have a Article 245 of the Constitution discuss regarding with a relationship between a state and a parliament, state assembly and parliament. So the relationship between central government and state government, and the relationship between a parliament and state legislative assembly will be detailed by the Article 245 of the Constitution, right? Article 245 prescribes that if any central laws, if any enactment or if any law framed at framed at parliament, so it will have an applicability of whole of India. The law will be applicable for whole of India. If any act has been made in parliament, then the law will be applicable to whole of India. If any act or if any bill is passed and if any act is made by the state legislative assembly, then the applicability of those act will be particular state. It has been said by Article 245 of the Constitution. And Article 246 contained, Article 246 of the Constitution of India consist. Sir, I have a doubt, sir, regarding, sir, in India just now we have been discussed like different branches of law. Sir, in India we have different branches of law, sir. In the meanwhile we have different laws, sir. Then regarding which matters parliament have a power, regarding which matters the parliament can frame the laws, regarding which matters the state legislative assembly will frame the laws. For example, laws regarding police department will be framed by particular state, particular state legislative assembly. Law regarding police department will be framed at a particular state legislative assembly. Those laws are called as state laws. It has been said by whom, sir? Article 246. We have under Article 246 7th schedule consists of a three list, called them as list 1, list 2 and a list 3. Article 246 7th schedule consists of three lists: list 1, list 2 and list 3. So list 1 discuss regarding with it is also called as a central list or union list. One is also called as central list or union list. List 2 is called as a state list and list 3 is called as a concurrent list. List 3 is called as concurrent list. The items which has been or the matters which has been prescribed under list 1 or union list, those matters related laws will be framed by the given exclusively framed by the parliament, sir. The matters which are covered under list 1 or central list, the matters relating to the those particular matters will be relating the laws will be framed by parliament, sir. It has been provided where Article 246 7th schedule. And list 2 is called as a state list, and the matters which has been or items or matters which has been prescribed under list 2, the matters which are being covered under list 2 or state list, the laws will be framed by state legislative assembly. The laws will be framed by state legislative assembly. So the power to make the laws regarding the matters which has been covered under list 2 or state list will be given by whom? Article 246 7th schedule has given the powers which are the matters which has been covered under list 2 to make the laws with respect to the matters which are covered under list 2 has been exclusively given to the state legislative assembly. And the matters which has been covered under concurrent list or list 3, that is it is called concurrent list, both parliament and state legislative assembly, both parliament and state legislative assembly having the power to frame the laws which has been the matters covered under concurrent list. Few examples of the matters which are covered under concurrent list, sir, like forests and education. So if any laws regarding forest and education, both parliament and state legislature, government, state legislature will have the power to make the law, sir. It has been granted power from where? Article 246 7th schedule. List 3 contains, right, the matters, the concerned matters, regarding the concerned matters, the law will be framed by both parliament and state legislative assembly. Next, so we have seen the need and purpose of law, and next we have seen discuss the concept. So next, discuss company law or corporate law. Sir, what is meant by company, sir? What is meant by company? So the term company has been derived from, right, a Latin word, is a Latin word, right? Sir, etymologically speaking, the company, the word company has been come from come and pani. Come and pani. Come means together, pani means bread or food. Come means together, pani means bread or food. So usually after getting industrial revolution, right, people used to work in industries. So it work at factories, right, in lunchtime, in meanwhile when they are in leisure, the people used to sit around themselves, and they used to take suggestions, they used to share their problems with the other people. So from that, by sharing their problems the other people, they will get an effective decision making or effective solution for those problems. Effective decision making or effective solution for these problems, because instead of working on the problem by one brain, instead of working multiple brains by sharing the problems with other people, so there exist working multiple brains for the similar problem, there exists an effective solution for that. So in the meanwhile, right, the same concept has been applied to the business, right? By taking decision by one person, like sole proprietary concern, by taking decision by one person, the decision will be less effective. But while in coming to the company, so the decisions or to the day-to-day affairs of the company has been managed by persons called board of directors. So board of directors, right? What did this board of directors do, sir? Come means company means etymological speaking, the company means come means together, pani means bread or food. Instead of bread or food, the business people to earn profit. Instead of bread or food, the business used to people will want to they have been come together to earning what? To earning profit. Next, in India, the companies will be regulated by an act called or law called Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013 is a new legislation regarding to the companies. Earlier we have an act called Indian Companies Act 1956. The Indian Companies Act 1956 has got repealed. The word repeal means legal cancellation of a statute from its applicability. So the Companies Act 1956 has got repealed. In place of Companies Act 1956, a new legislation has been framed and applicable in India called Companies Act 2013. Right? The Companies Act 2013 consists of 470 sections, 7 schedules. Consists of around 470 sections and 7 schedules. Right? 470 sections, 7 schedules, and 7 chapters. Right. So a brief of the Companies Act is it consists 470 sections, 7 schedules, and 27 chapters. Right. Before getting into the discussion, we will discuss forms of businesses. What are the forms of business, sir? Means basically we'll see 3 forms of business, right? Like sole proprietary concern, sole proprietorship, and partnership business, and we have a company business managed by in the form of company. Right? What are the difference between these 3 forms of business, sir? So before getting to the discussion into the 3 forms of business, and we have seen characteristics. What are the characteristics or features of the company, sir? So all this will be going to discuss in the next session. Thank you all. That's all for today.